It's Caleb Calhoun and Amanda LaFratta here with Off the Hook Sports. We are giving our conference championship gambling predictions for the weekend. We're going to do the all Power Five. Obviously, 4 of them have playoff implications, maybe 5. Um, let's start, Amanda. Obviously, with tonight, you got USC and Utah. USC is a 2.5-point favorite. The over under is 66.5. Where are you going with that?
I'm going to we saw last USC-Utah matchup, and it was quite the back and forth between the two teams. Lots of scoring going on. I know Utah won very, very slightly. So I'm going to take the USC. I think they have improved. So I'm going to take them -2.5, and I'll definitely take the over in this game. Definitely.
Oh yeah. I'm taking the over too.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm taking USC also to cover on the spread. The game's in Vegas. They lost last time because it was at Utah. It's a tough place to play. So we're gonna have to see how all that goes. But yeah, mostly I'm with you. I'm going USC to cover. They think they win by like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the Big 12 championship game, Kansas State TCU. TCU is a 2.5-point favorite. Over under is at 61.5. These are FanDuel odds. I should say that.
So if I'm taking Kansas State in this game. Outright. I don't know if TCU is the team that we've been seeing. I think there's a lot of holes in TCU. As far as the over/under is concerned, I'd still have to go with the over because I don't think there's a lot of defense being played here. TCU is going to have to prove it tonight. And I know they're undefeated, but there's been a lot of close games here where they shouldn't be, I feel like, undefeated. So I think that TCU will really have to prove themselves tonight. And if they do, then I think they secure a spot in the playoff, hands down.
Yeah. This one I think isn't it tomorrow actually? No, or is it tonight? I think it's tomorrow actually, the TCU Kansas State game. Sorry about that. I got it mixed up. I should have made that clear. Worries. Yeah, I'm with you. Kansas State has actually won their last 3 games in dominating fashion. They beat Baylor by 4 touchdowns a week before Baylor almost beat TCU. Blew out West Virginia, beat Kansas by 3 touchdowns. I know the game's in Texas, but Kansas State, TCU, and Arlington, I feel like Kansas State can bring as many fans to Arlington and maybe even more than TCU.
I agree
yeah,
with that.
So I'm with you. I'm going to take Kansas State definitely on the spread at 2.5. I like them on the spread. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to take them outright too. Money line, it looks like for FanDuel has Kansas State at plus 116. So, not a huge payout if you go with the upset outright, but I'm with you. I'm taking Kansas State to cover, and I'm going to take the over 2. Last time they played, the total hit 66. So the over under 61.5. I think they'll cross 61.5 fairly comfortably.
Yeah, totally agree.
So I will. So next on the list is the one we talked about the most, LSU Georgia. We just talked about that on the show. Georgia is a 17.5-point favorite, and the over under is 51.5.
Yeah. So I'm taking. I'm like broken record here. I'm taking Georgia. I'll take Georgia I want to take Georgia with the points because I'm expecting Georgia to come out flat. And I don't think they're going to do so. It's basically a home field advantage for Georgia. It's in Atlanta. I mean, my God, it's super close to Athens. You're going to have a ton of Georgia fans there. LSU, they're loud, they're rowdy, but I don't think they have the team to do it. If they didn't drop it to Texas A&M, I maybe would have sided a little bit more with LSU on this one. But I mean, I think that they have been mainly posers this year, and kind of backed into this spot. I'm going to say I will take Georgia to cover because I think maybe this time they don't come out flat. Maybe they come out swinging because we haven't seen them do so in a long time. So Yeah, I'll take them to cover, and I think I'll take the over too.
Over 51.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Finally, we're disagreeing on this one. I got LSU covering. Yes, they laid an egg last week at Texas A&M. They're wildly inconsistent this year, and inconsistency means that if they played bad last week, they'll play good this week. And
It's true.
yeah, and I also think that Kirby Smart's style, I don't know if he's merciful, but he really, against Tennessee, he just milked the clock as much as possible in the second half. We know he could have won that. We know Georgia could have won that game 45-13 if they wanted to. And I think LSU will play them tough defensively for first quarter or so. Then Georgia will hit a couple scores, and at that point, Kirby Smart will just play keep away in the second half. And so I'm actually taking the under, and I'm taking LSU to cover. LSU covers because Georgia just won't score enough because Kirby Smart won't try to score enough. So Georgia wins like 24-10 to me.
Yeah. I could definitely see that happening. Jaden Daniels, I think that Georgia defense is just going to annihilate him. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring defensively.
Okay. All right. I could see that. For those interested, if you guys want to get rich and take a huge risk, this is probably the largest money line. Georgia's money line is -1,000. So you got to bet 1,000 to win 100. And
it's
LSU
almost guaranteed.
Yeah, it is. It's almost guaranteed. But LSU's plus 640. So you can get rich if LSU pulls this upset and you drop $100 down. So
yeah, but that's almost not guaranteed. So
yeah, exactly.
the opposite.
Two more to get to. Clemson and UNC. And the line is Clemson 7.5 and over under is 63.5.
I feel like this is a game that's just going to be ugly all the way around. I think Clemson is not the team that we think that they are. I think they proved that against South Carolina. They proved that against Notre Dame. I could see North Carolina winning this outright, even though they're not that great, but they have Drake May, and he's pretty good. So Clemson's offense just cannot do anything, and that's the problem with Clemson. So I think that North Carolina could come out, score big. I will still take the under on that, but I would take North Carolina to cover the spread.
Okay, and we half agree. I'm taking Clemson to cover the spread because I agree Clemson's a little overrated. I think North Carolina has been exposed as wildly overrated the last 2 weeks. After watching Drake May the last 2 weeks, I've kind of 180'd every thought I had on him. I just didn't think he was serviceable against NC State, awful against Georgia Tech. And so I think that Clemson's defense will shut him down to a certain degree. And so I think Clemson covers, but I do think the game hits the under. I don't know where they set that at 63.5. I don't know.
I'm not quite sure.
That seems like the easiest play of the weekend, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know why they set that at 63.5. I don't see that being the case.
Yeah, me neither. And lastly, we've got Purdue, Michigan, Big Ten Championship. Michigan is a 16.5 point favorite. Over under is 51.5, meaning they must not think Purdue is going to score at all. And so, where are you going with that?
I'm taking Purdue to cover. And the reason being is because we've seen Michigan play teams that they shouldn't play close, and they played them close this season. You know, they've wiped out teams like Penn State and Ohio State, and then they get to Illinois, and it's too close for comfort. And I think that we're going to see that with Michigan this week as well. Plus, their starting running back's gone. I mean, he's completely gone. He's having surgery. He's out for the rest of the season. So that's a big deal for Michigan. They already had somebody jump ship in the, transfer portal. So Cade McNamara is gone. Their backup quarterback's gone. So if you have a problem with your starting quarterback, then you're kind of not doing too hot if you're Michigan right there. So I'm going to take Purdue. Purdue is they're not great, but they still play, close, and they still have a shot. And I just don't see that big of a spread for Michigan to overcome.
Yeah, and for context, I know people are going to point out last year Michigan blowing out Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. I think Michigan was so excited to be there after knocking on the door for so long that it was kind of like when the Red Sox reached the World Series in 2004 after exercising their demons with the Yankees. They weren't losing to the Cardinals. Um,
Yeah.
I think I think this year it's a little more going through the motions with Michigan. So I'm with you. I think they'll be a little flat. I got Purdue covering. I'm probably the least confident about that one of all of my picks, but I do have Purdue covering. And I have Purdue covering because Jeff Brom is a pretty good offensive coach. I think Purdue's going to score a bit, so I'm going to take the over, honestly,
Yeah.
in this one. Um, so Purdue covers, game hits the over. It's in. I believe that game's in Indianapolis. Yes, it is. It's in a dome, so you're not going to have the Big Ten weather elements slowing down the offense. Um, and so yeah, Purdue covers, game hits the over, but Michigan still wins. I think we both agree with that, right?
Yeah, I think Michigan still wins. I definitely think that they still win. I just think that they don't win by as much as people think that they do. They come out flat, they play, great. They come out flat, they play great. So I think this is a time where they're going to come out flat. Still going to
Yeah.
win, but not as big.
Yep, I agree. Khaki Pants is not going to be happy. So,
No,
um,
he's not.
all right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll look back on our picks Monday, see how we did. We're gonna start making this a regular thing, and let's see how it goes. My most confident one is still Clemson UNC. I'm taking the under. That's if you want to get rich, put a lot of money on that, and don't blame me if you do when you lose.
So, yeah, don't blame us. Just listen to what we're saying. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree. Yep. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in, and we will talk to you later.